Have you ever really wondered what a product manager actually does all day? It's one of those job titles that you see everywhere, but what does it really mean? Okay, let's get into it. We're going to demystify this role, from that first cup of coffee all the way to the end-of-day log-off.
Right. This is the big question, isn't it? The title can feel, well, a little fuzzy. Are they like a mini CEO, a tech genius, the team cheerleader? Honestly, the truth is, it's a mix of all of those things, and then some. So let's break down what that actually looks like, hour by hour. So to get us started, here's a really sharp definition from our source, Product Plan. It boils the whole mission down to two key parts. First, you find a real problem in the market that's worth fixing, and second, you lead the team that's going to fix it. It's all about the why and the who.
Now, just a quick word on job titles. You'll hear us talk about both product and project managers. And while there are differences, for our purposes, we're really going to focus on the core stuff they both do, those universal activities you absolutely have to nail to bring any product to life. The day-to-day rhythm is actually surprisingly similar.
So, how does all this work get done? Well, a PM's day pretty much revolves around three core pillars. You can think of these as the building blocks for everything else they do. So let's walk through them one by one.
First up, connecting and communicating. And I can't stress this enough. This is the absolute lifeblood of the role. A product manager is basically the central hub, that communication point that keeps the entire team, the entire project, totally in sync.
And just look at who they're talking to. It's a constant loop of meetings with literally every part of the business. You're getting feedback from the support team, you're making sure the messaging is right with marketing, and you're checking in on progress with the dev team. The whole point is to make sure everyone is rowing in the exact same direction. I love this quote. It's so real. Ira, a project manager whose day we're following, she jokes about being a boogaboo, that person who's always chasing people down for updates. But she's making a super important point. It's not about being annoying. It's about accountability. It's how you keep the whole thing moving. So what does this look like in the real world? Well, picture a weekly call with 10 engineers, all trying to hash out design strategy and timelines. Ira says that to make this actually work, you have to build genuine relationships. When your team sees you as a partner, not just a taskmaster, they're way more likely to give you the info you need.
Okay, so all that talking and connecting generates a ton of information, right? And that brings us perfectly to pillar number 2, learning and analyzing. The PM's next huge job is to actually make sense of all that noise. This is the detective work part of the job. A PM is constantly digging into things like sales figures, what competitors are up to, and most importantly, how real customers are actually using the product. Are people using that new feature we launched? If not, why not? This analysis is where those game-changing insights come from. And don't think this is something you save for a quiet Friday afternoon. For Ira, the analysis starts the second she sits down at her desk. She's scanning her email for any fires that started overnight and pulling up her color-coded tracker to see what is on fire right now. You have to start the day with a crystal clear picture of what's going on. Okay, check out this number, 45 minutes. This tells such an interesting story. For a single 20-minute interview with a customer, our source says you should block out 45 minutes. Why? Well, that extra time is for prep, sure. But the real magic is creating space for the conversation to just breathe. You have to build in that buffer for those unexpected insights that can literally change the direction of a project. All right, so you've connected with your team, you've analyzed all the data. That brings us to our final pillar, and it's where all that thinking turns into real action, deciding and documenting.
These are the things you can actually see, the tangible outputs of a product manager's work. The roadmap? That tells the entire company where you're headed. The product backlog? That lists out exactly what the team is building next. And these aren't just files sitting on a server, they are the physical records of critical decisions that guide everyone's work.
And listen, timing is everything here. Ira really hammers home the point that you have to get those meeting notes and action items out immediately. Why? To keep the momentum going. If you wait even a day, people start to forget the details, and all that energy from the meeting just vanishes. Documentation is what fuels action.
And in case you're wondering, this isn't just one person's habit. The data shows that over 40% of PMs, it doesn't matter if they're at a small company or a huge one, are reprioritizing their backlog every single week. A backlog isn't something you set in stone. It's a living, breathing document, because the market is a living, breathing thing.
So we've got these three pillars, right? Communicating, analyzing, and documenting. But here's the catch.
They are all in a constant, brutal fight for the single most valuable resource a product manager has. And that brings us to the core challenge of the role, the battle for time.
I mean, just take a look at a sample calendar. It is a wall-to-wall Tetris game of focused work and team meetings. There is practically no white space. It's a daily mashup of all three pillars, and a lot of the time they're all happening at once.
And to be really good at this job, sometimes you have to be relentless. This story from Ira just says it all. She literally had to grab a key person during their lunch break because a critical decision had to be made that day. That is the reality of the job. You do what you have to do to unblock your team and keep things moving.
In the meetings, they're a whole mix. Yeah, you've got your regular scheduled check-ins, but then you have the totally unpredictable calls from the sales team and the constant ad hoc, hey, got a minute, pings on Slack. The beautiful calendar you plan for your day can be completely blown up by noon. You have to be incredibly flexible.
So when you're faced with this constant chaos, how does a great product manager not just survive, but actually thrive? Well, it all comes down to building personal systems to create some order from that chaos.
So how do you actually manage it all? You build a rock-solid routine. Take a look at Ira's non-negotiable end-of-day process. She syncs up with her lead engineer, she chases down any last outstanding actions, and she cleans out her inbox to make a fresh to-do list for the next morning. See, this isn't just about closing out the day. It's about setting yourself up to win tomorrow.
And all of this leaves us with one final big idea to chew on. After seeing the insane schedule, the deep data analysis, and the constant documentation, what is the real job here? Is it about being a master juggler, flawlessly keeping 1,000 different tasks in the air? Or is it about using all of those tasks as tools to do something bigger, to lead people toward a shared vision? That's something to think about.